Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. Today I wanted to go through and give you guys an update on one of the oldest cryptocurrencies that's been around in this space. XMR has been one of the top performing altcoins in all of crypto history, and it's looking like a breakout is imminent. I wanted to go through, give you guys an update with XMR because it seems to be outpacing the majority of the market right now, and I also wanted to dive into some more Bitcoin analysis, give you guys some updates on my trading plan, and talk to you guys about how I'm personally going to be trading these markets. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Make sure that you guys click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos like the one provided for you here. And always remember, guys, I have the fastest growing and the very best Discord community out there for crypto. We got over 17,000 members and it's growing so fast. I'd love it if you guys were a part of it. All you guys got to do to join is to click inside the description of this video, and there you're going to find the invitation link to my Discord. Now on the Discord, I also offer my more exclusive content like the video course and signal. So if you're somebody that wants to sign up for any of my VIP content, copy my portfolio, as well as follow along with the educational series I've provided, make sure you guys stay all the way to the end of this video because I'm going to be taking a couple minutes to explain how you guys can get signed up, the pros of doing so, and what it's going to take to get you guys going today. I also wanted to mention quickly that you guys can download my free ebook. It's over 38 pages full of exciting information that's going to teach you guys trading and investing knowledge. There's also an awesome quiz that I've made in there to help you guys study, learn up on some of the stuff taught to you guys inside the book, and then quiz yourself to see what you have actually obtained. So make sure you guys download that. It's free for anybody that wants to. Tons of awesome information that I know is going to help you guys progress to the next level in your trading and investing strategy. All right, guys, with all that being said, we got a lot of really exciting stuff to talk about today. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Alrighty guys, so first things first, I want to dive into some Bitcoin analysis. Obviously, I ruffled a few feathers yesterday by announcing that I was actually shorting Bitcoin. So a lot of people are upset by that, but honestly guys, that's just the way the trading plan works. I mean, honestly, the amount that I'm short right now is less than 3% of my portfolio. And so I also have stop losses in place, so it's not even like it's a big deal. People freaked out when they found out I was short, and it just shows how emotional people are. People are always focused on the market only going one direction, and they never plan for the potential of there being downside. So whenever you share with them that your opinion is bearish for the short term, people just freak out. I mean, I think I lost like 100 subscribers yesterday just because of that. And so it just goes to show to you guys how emotional people are going to get, especially during times of uncertainty. People are just angry at the fact that somebody could disagree with them. I just think it's so silly, to be honest. Now, I wanted to go through, give you guys some updates with Bitcoin. I wanted to share this with you, but guys, so you can understand a little bit more insight into my trading plan, because to be quite honest, it's pretty simple and straightforward to me. Basically, the reason why I'm short is because we sold through a major resistance level, right? We sold through a major support level. This was support here, it was support here, it was support here, and then we sold through it. And then what happened? Well, it became resistance. And so obviously speaking, you got to play the trend, right? If this once was support and then we break through it and it's now acting as resistance, obviously speaking, that's more probable for short opportunities. And so honestly, guys, there's no big reason to overthink it. Just because I'm short-term bearish does not mean my long-term perspective has changed at all, because that's quite the opposite. In fact, I'm still very bullish on the long-term prospect. It's just the fact that I want to take up the opportunity to maybe leverage some shorts, maybe make a little bit of money if I'm proven right. If I'm proven wrong, I got stop losses in place, and then that's the end of it. I still have all my long-term bags. I haven't sold anything. So there's no reason to even be scared by any of this stuff. But what I see right now is just the simple fact that we're below resistance. You know, if we're below resistance, that's bearish. Now, on top of that, if we drop it to a little bit of a shorter time frame, like the 4-hour, you guys are going to see that not only are we below this resistance here, but we're also below this resistance here, and we've kind of consecutively got rejected off of this. You know, you could draw it a little bit lower, maybe back down in here, but no matter what way you draw it from, this is us rejecting off of resistance. We got rejected here, we got rejected here, we got rejected here. This time we popped up above, but then we immediately sold back through it. We got rejected here, and now we're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. Is it absolutely impossible for us to break up out of this structure? No, of course not. In fact, it is very possible, and I'm going to share with you guys an altcoin here in a second that is actually leading the market, and it's actually showing a direction that the rest of the market could potentially choose. We're just going to have to watch and see. But the biggest reason for me being bearish is because I expected this time to be a lot of chop. Obviously speaking, we just had the first debates last night. I think that that's going to bring a little bit of volatility volatility inside of the market. Maybe it's good for crypto, maybe it's bad for crypto. Nonetheless, it really hinges upon what the dollar is going to do, or the DXY, the dollar index, or right here, this chart over here. It's really hinged upon what happens over here, because the dollar, if this thing keeps going up, that's going to be bearish for the rest of the markets. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all the cryptocurrencies and the commodity markets are going to hinder in that. Now, the biggest thing that I see right here is the fact that we do have this bullish divergence that's formed, lower lows and lower highs, but we had higher highs and higher lows on the RSI. And then we actually ended up getting this little bit of a bounce right here. Right, so we did manage to get a little bit of a bounce. We are below resistance, so this could technically be the short-term top. But nonetheless, guys, as long as this trend line holds, and really as long as we can hold support above some of these previous support levels, specifically, well, previous resistance levels, I should say, these are our previous resistance right here. Rejection, 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 and we just flipped it. And so if this closes bullish and we get more continuation, I expect that continuation to take us to about 95, which would be, about right here to even up here at about 95.74. And that's personally what I'm going to watch out for. As long as this is holding strength, I'm going to continue to hold my shorts. Is the second that this starts to fail and starts to reject below this support and it starts acting as resistance, something like this, then I'm going to once again close my shorts, and then I'm going to be looking to fully long the cryptos. But until then, guys, I'm just merely trading the direction of the market, so there's no reason to be super fearful. Either way, I expect, even if support were to hold, I expect a quick little bounce up to about here, and then we'd sell off and go to new lows. And so my trading plan hasn't changed at all. It's just the fact that for the short term, on my short-term trading plan with the day trading strategies I'm taking, I merely opened a couple of shorts. So there's no reason to be shaken out by any means, guys. It doesn't mean that my whole trading plan and the direction of this channel has changed. In fact, I'm still very much a long-term bull. So I just wanted to keep you guys updated with that. Anytime we're below resistance, I'm going to continue to hold my shorts. I have shorts open since 11K, and so I'm pretty much protected for the most part. If we start to break back above over here, then I'm going to start rethinking my trading plan, but it really is just hinging upon what happens with the dollar index. And so that's really what I wanted to share with you guys right now. As long as we're below resistance, I'm going to continue to think that this is a short opportunity. We're also getting rejected technically right where we're at below the second lower high. And so, in my opinion, this is setting us up for another drop to about 9K. I'm going to watch and see what happens. I'm more than happy to trade the market with the direction it gives me, and I'm more than happy to rethink my strategy if I'm proven wrong. And so that's just the way it works, guys. We're going to watch and see what happens here at about 10,800. If we get rejected again, obviously speaking, that's going to make me feel a lot more bearish. I'm already bearish because we're below resistance. So anyways, that's the trading plan. Now next, let's actually dive into the coin of XMR. This is one I haven't really talked about a lot on this channel, but I think it's setting up for a lot of upside potential and could potentially be shaping the way for the rest of the cryptocurrency markets as a whole. So here we are, guys, taking a look at XMR on the 3-day. As you guys can see, we are getting a lot of good volume in here, and we are actually breaking out of some of the resistances. And it looks to me like we could very easily be in for a nice impulse that's going to take us up. And so when I see this, guys, I just want you guys to understand that when we find certain cryptocurrencies that seem to be outpacing the rest of the market, whereas in my opinion, gold, where in my opinion, Bitcoin looks a little bit more bearish, and even Ethereum looks a little bit more bearish, coins like XMR are looking bullish. And so this is where we can kind of start to see a divergence. Even though my trading plan right now looks a little bit more bearish, coins like XMR that are kind of outpacing the rest of the market and are showing more upside potential, they could very easily be pointing to the direction that the rest of the market is going to go. I could be bearish on Bitcoin, but then we could see, Monero start breaking out, and then we could start seeing Bitcoin breaking out too. And so we very easily could be at this point where the altcoins, specific altcoins, are going to kind of start to distance themselves. It makes sense for XMR because it's been such a high cap leader for so long. And really, guys, what I wanted to share with you guys first and foremost about this chart is just how much it actually looks like early day Bitcoin. And that's the really interesting part about this. So if we come over here and actually compare this to what we're seeing in Ethereum, if we actually come over here and compare what we're seeing right now inside of XMR to what we saw in early day Bitcoin, I think that you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised with what we're seeing here. Now, in my opinion, we're seeing pretty much the same type of market structure. And they're really, honestly, it's really crazy how similar these two actually are. And I think that we could be in for the same type of market structure here. And this is a pattern that I've been updating you guys with pretty consistently because, you know, I see a lot of the altcoins doing this. Pretty much all of the major high caps from the last cycle are repeating this pattern. All of the ones that have a lot of value in them, the ones that are going to be performing well over this next cycle, the ones that haven't died, are specifically the ones that are throwing up this pattern. And what we can see here is if I analyze it for you guys, you're going to start to understand kind of what I'm talking about. So this is kind of the first part of the sequence where we have the very lowest point of the cycle. This is where the markets just crashed after the cycle top. This is about a yearly decline. After the year mark, we get to the bottom over here. And this is pretty much the same thing that happened here. You know, if we look at XMR, we can see that we topped at about the January 1st. So January 1st takes us to about right here. So that's where we get pretty much the cycle top. Now, a year from that point takes us to 2019, which is almost the exact cycle bottom right here. So we can see that it's already lining up pretty identical to the last Bitcoin cycle because the last Bitcoin cycle did the same thing. It peaked around the new year, it bottomed exactly 1 year after that point, and we can see that XMR is doing the same thing. Now, not only are they behaving the same off of time frames, but they're also behaving the same based off of market structure as well. We get the low point of the capitulation, and then we get our first dead cat bounce or our first lower high, which takes us to about right here. Same type of stuff happened here inside of XMR. And then we can see that we get this type of choppy action as we kind of consolidate back around. And the same thing happened here. This was right before we got that pump. This is at the new year of 2019 to this is at the new year to 2020. And then we got that short-term bounce to try and retake some of these resistance levels, try and reclaim them as support. Same thing happened here inside of Bitcoin. You know, it's almost identical, really, how correlated these two are. And it makes sense, guys. Obviously speaking, the altcoins just follow Bitcoin, and they're just a little bit behind as far as where their cycles are headed. But nonetheless, guys, we got the same market structure here. After we got this second attempt to break higher in XMR and in Bitcoin, we crashed. We had this sharp decline to come and retest some of the capitulation lows over here. And we can see that that's where we get this second green box right here. It's pretty much identical here. Almost the exact same market structure. And it blows me away. And this is really the reason why I'm not so bearish right now. It's like, yeah, I have some short-term bearish positions open, but it's literally catching a 10% dip. It's not like I'm trying to short the whole market with my whole portfolio. It's just the fact that on the short term, I am a little bit bearish on Bitcoin. But on the long term, when you look at all of the altcoins, they're all doing this exact pattern. And so I have no problem rethinking my strategy. And in fact, when we're starting to see this type of market structure, it's very apparent to me that we could be experiencing a breakout in XMR. We could be experiencing the big parabolic move like we saw in Bitcoin. Because guys, this is almost the exact same chart pattern here. And there's really no reason to be too shaken out by any means. You know, if what I did was shorting the market offended you, that just shows that you're an emotional trader and you're too emotionally invested in this market to even think straight. If people have an opposing opinion and you would disagree with them, and then your next immediate thing is to just slander them with negative comments, it just shows how emotionally immature you guys actually are. And that's the funny thing, guys. You don't want to be like that. You don't want to get so emotionally attached to specific outcomes. You want to be willing to trade both directions of the market. And so even though I'm short-term bearish, it doesn't mean that my long-term bullishness has faltered. In fact, seeing charts like this with XMR only continues to harden that stance of us being super bullish. And, you know, it makes a lot of sense to me that we're going to see the same type of correlation. We've already seen the same type of correlation, except the fun part this time is the fact that if we compare the dates, so from the very lowest point was about the 12th of December of 2018. If we come all the way to where we're at currently, it's about 658 days worth of consolidation that we've been going sideways, this choppy action back and forth. Now, if we actually come over here to Bitcoin, let's actually compare this period of time, and let's see quite how they line up today. So the lowest point takes us to about the 14th of January. You know, about that same point where we start to go parabolic was about 280 days, guys. This was only 280 days worth of consolidation. This is 650 days worth of consolidation, about double the length of time in which Ethereum has been going sideways compared to is what Bitcoin went sideways in the last cycle. So honestly, guys, if you've made it through this cycle, if you've continued to dollar cost average, you've continued to stick to that long-term nature, that this is a long-term play and that this cycle is going to turn bullish, and when it does, it's going to provide a lot of gains. If you've been sticking to that plan, you guys are going to be rewarded, because here's the thing. This type of consolidation was so miserable to be a part of. This is like a year and a half worth of consolidation where we just went sideways, almost 2 years worth of consolidation that we went sideways. Whereas Bitcoin in the last cycle, people always talked about all these OG traders from the last cycle, because I got in right here at $450. So when I got in, I was learning from the people who had just went through all of this choppy action. And to be quite honest, it's funny because these type of people that were here to trade through this chop, they said how terrible it was. Everything just went back and forth. It was so volatile, no profits to be made for almost a year long. And then here we are, the people of the current cycle, where we've been through this choppy action for almost 2 years, and we've really just maintained our bullish stance. And so if you're here, you've maintained this bullish stance in the long-term prospect, that's all that matters, because you guys are going to be rewarded. You know, even though I'm short-term bearish on the short-term of Bitcoin, it doesn't change any of this. I've still continued to dollar cost average into altcoin positions. I've still continued to structure that. I've still continued to focus in on that. And that's really the best thing that you guys can do. At the end of the day, when I trade, I have about 80% of my portfolio for long-term holding, and I have about 20% for short-term trading. And with that 20%, I'm only risking, 1 to 5% of my portfolio for every trade. And so the thing about it, guys, is it's not by me being bearish on the short term is not by in the slightest me trying to short the whole market with all of my portfolio. I practice risk management. And because I practice risk management, I am profitable. Whether I'm wrong or whether I'm right, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I've still continued to dollar cost average into all of those high cap coins. And so my trading plan has not changed in the slightest. And so I just wanted to give you guys this little update. I wanted to talk to you guys about how this high cap specifically is doing this exact same chart pattern. And in fact, you could literally look at all of the old school cryptos, like Dash, for an example, is doing the same exact chart pattern. Look at this. Pretty much the same pattern here. It's just the fact that this one is a little bit less bullish because it's holding support a little bit lower compared to XMR. It's kind of breaking out. And so this is the funny thing, guys. This is just the universal pattern of this cycle. You're going to see this in the last Bitcoin cycle. Bitcoin did this before we had the massive breakout. We can see it forming right now in XMR. There's a number of these different cryptos that are actually doing it. In fact, let me pull up another one. Even NEM did this, except this one actually pumped super high. We made some signals back down in here at about 4.5 cents, and then we saw it pump super hard after those signals. And this one, we're in a very peculiar time where this one could just be merely retesting previous resistance levels of support before we do get another strong bounce back up. We could very easily be seeing something like that. In the last Bitcoin cycle, what we saw right here was after the breakout of this move, we retested it right here, and then this is where we got the ascending triangle, right? Before we started breaking out, and then we started going more and more parabolic. We could be seeing the exact same type of stuff here in these older high cap coins from the last cycle, right? This is us just retesting based off the last Bitcoin cycle. We're about right here at this red circle. A lot of these altcoins are actually doing this pattern. We could very easily be seeing something very similar. We could see something like this, guys. We could be seeing the same type of ascending triangle before we just continue to go more and more parabolic into this next year. And so we could see something like this, guys. We are pretty much following the same market structure. I mean, anytime you can see a couple altcoins that are looking this identical to Bitcoin, a prime example of this is actually going to be Ethereum, because Ethereum is pretty much doing the same thing. The only real difference here is Ethereum has already started breaking out. And so when I see this, guys, we see almost the exact same correlations in price. There's really no reason to be long-term bearish by any means. Whatever you guys think about the election, I don't really know what your guys' opinions. Do you guys think this is bullish for crypto, or do you think this is bearish for crypto? Because I'm genuinely interested to hear you guys' opinions on this. Because at the end of the day, I think the best thing that we can do is just be prepared for all scenarios. I was expecting volatility inside of this market because of the election, because I didn't know what the heck was going to happen, because there's so much at stake here, guys. You got to understand that between Biden and Trump, not trying to get political, but they have a vast difference in their overall trading plans as far as what their plan is for taxes, which is very, very key for us investors. I've talked with my CPA. He's went over with the Biden tax plan, and he's went over me with the Trump tax plan. And I'm here to tell you first and foremost that the Trump tax plan is much more profitable. And in fact, if Biden gets elected, I don't care who does, but I'm saying if Biden gets elected, you're looking at about a doubling of the capital gains tax. You're looking at about a 20% tax to a 40% tax plus. And that's what's going to be a big difference. You know, if Biden gets elected compared to Trump, you know, we might see a lot more volatility and a lot more weakness in certain markets. And so because of that, you know, it really hinges upon a lot of what is decided based off of who gets elected. Now, I'm not trying to make a political argument here. I'm just explaining to you guys the differences that we're going to see. I expect a lot of volatility because the market's going to try to adjust as far as what they think is going to happen. And so really, guys, when I see this, you know, we have Bitcoin here, and now we also have Ethereum here. You know, if we compare all of these, you're gonna see that we get pretty much the same type of market structure here. Same little green boxes all the way through. You guys are gonna start to see the same correlations. And all I'm doing is just copying, pasting all of the last stuff, and you guys can obviously see how correlated these two are. It's not like I'm doing any expert analysis. I'm merely just analyzing what I see. And this is the thing, guys. Ethereum had already broken out. You know, XMR is kind of lagging behind, and so maybe Ethereum makes a little bit of a sell-off here, comes back down a little bit, and maybe that gives a lot of room for some of these other high cap altcoins to kind of finish out their pumps. We're going to watch and see what happens. Nonetheless, guys, I think that the long-term bullish prospect is still very much bullish. There's no reason to be too shaken out. I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a rebuttal based off my last video, because a lot of people were pissed off, and I just wanted to clarify that even though I'm short-term bearish on Bitcoin and I did open some shorts, it doesn't mean that I'm short on the whole portfolio that I have. In fact, over 90% of it is in long-term bullish holds. And that's the funniest thing to understand, guys. Just because my trading plan might differ a little bit, it doesn't mean you guys need to get super upset about it. It doesn't mean I'm flip-flopping all the time. It just means that I personally see a directional bias, and I'm trading that directional bias as follows. My long-term bullish bias has never changed. In fact, here at this channel, I'm very much structured on the long-term bullish approach. And so there's really no reason to get super shaken out by any of the video that I posted. Just because I'm looking to catch some short-term dip opportunities does not in the slightest mean that I'm long-term bearish. In fact, when I look at charts like this and I see XMR breaking out, it just perfectly explains why we should be bullish right now. You know, Ethereum's already broken out. We saw Bitcoin break out in the last cycle. I think that this is merely Ethereum kind of doing the same last cycle as Bitcoin, where we kind of stop, we retest some previous highs, and then we chop around here as we grow and get more parabolic. And so, you know, guys, continue to focus on the long term. Don't get shaken out by any means. You know, I just wanted to quickly mention that before we wrap this video up, for the people that have waited this long, that want to hear about my video course and signals, first and foremost, I always recommend that when you're getting into this market, you follow along with somebody that knows what they're doing. And at the end of the day, if you guys want to be able to copy along with my portfolio, all the trades that I'm taking over this next cycle, you want to get expert analysis that I update you guys with, make sure you guys check out the signals. You know, that's always going to be the first key and foremost. That's going to be the first and foremost thing that I think you guys should check out, because at the end of the day, you know, I offer the video course and I offer the signals. The signals are going to be the thing that's going to make you money in this cycle. You know, at the end of the day, you guys can follow along with the course, but it's going to take a lot of practice, a lot of trial and error before you're actually profitable. Even if you follow through the course, there's still a lot of things that you're going to have to understand when it comes to trading the market, because at the end of the day, I can teach you guys my strategies, but you have to be able to apply those strategies with consistency in order to actually figure out how to profit. And so for the people who would rather just copy along with my portfolio, all the trades that I'm taking, I always recommend going with that first and foremost, because you guys can make some money. If you make some money and you want to actually diversify and you want to buy the course, learn how to do this stuff on yourself, you guys can take some of that profit and move it into there. And so you're basically just trading with house money. You're just making money based off of my calls. So I really recommend checking that out, guys. I've been very adamant about the long-term bullish prospect. And, you know, to be quite honest, the more times that we see XMR breaking out, the more that it just proves all of those times in which I told you guys that this was going to happen. And so we've been nothing but right this whole entire time. And because of that, we're about to be severely rewarded. And so you guys want to jump in on there, get access to all of those private calls. You know, all of the newsletters that you guys hear, they're all going to be posted to you guys in there. And so it's just, I highly recommend getting in there. If you get in there early on, you're going to be able to make a lot of profit. You're going to be able to take that profit and you're going to be able to reinvest it and make more profit on the way up. Because guys, this is just the beginning of the cycle. We're about to see a monumental increase in values across the board on all of these cryptocurrencies. And when that happens, you know, we have a huge opportunity of making financial financial fortune of freedom. And at the end of the day, guys, if you're not following somebody that knows what they're doing, you're not following somebody that's been through the cycles, you're going to lose all of your money in the process, because that's what I did in the last cycle, because I was learning the whole time. You want to make sure you're trusting your money with somebody that you're going to be profiting with. So that's why I recommend checking out the signals. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Quickly, one final thing, check out that free ebook, download it. Links are in the description of this video. 38 pages long, exciting information that's going to give you guys a little bit more in-depth as far as trading, as far as investing. There's a lot of terminology to study, and there's also a quiz that you guys can go about, take it, and then just see what type of information you retained by going through that. Always remember, guys, links are in the description, whether you guys want to contact me through email, Facebook, Twitter, Discord, all of that stuff is going to be linked, so make sure you guys go check that out. And with all that being said, I will catch you in the next video. As always, peace out.